Hi everybody. I'm going to show you a really quick and easy mod for the Savage Accutrigger. They're not too terrible right out of the box. They actually have a pretty good feel. My only problem was the trigger weight was still a little bit higher than I wanted. Savage says these can be turned down to 1.5 pounds. This one I measured out and it comes in at like 33 to 34 ounces. So I wanted to lighten that up a little bit. See down, you can see that the gun is empty. I know some people spaz out about that. Remove your bolt. You should know how to do that already. With the bolt removed, on the back side here there is a small E-clip. The E-clip looks like that. You want to pop that E-clip off. Then flip the gun back around this way. With a little bit of downward pressure, you can weasel out that pin there. Set your pin off to the side. And then pull the trigger assembly out. You can set this off to the side for now. The spring on the back side here controls your trigger weight. The adjustment for it, this spring threads up and down to increase or decrease pressure. You can just take and thread that spring completely out of there. The hole that's in the back here with the threads for the spring, they already have that cut in there at a 1024. You might want to take a bolt or a tap or whatever and maybe clean it up just a little bit. I know I had to clean this one up just a tiny little bit. Then go pick yourself up a 1024 by 3/4 long machine screw. Take a Sawzall, hacksaw, whatever you got, and you're going to want to cut that off right at the head on it. I'll show you the other one so you can see about how much was removed. Even them up. There you can see that it's just the width of a saw blade that was taken off of there. You take your piece that you cut off, thread that in, and you want to thread this all the way up to the point where this back is now flush here. Once you have that set flush, take a magic marker or whatever you got laying around and mark the threads that are sticking out past this point. Then simply remove your screw. And use a grinder, file, Dremel, whatever you have at your disposal. And you want to take that end that you marked with the magic marker and just grind it down until all of the threads are gone, and that should be about the right size. You want to make sure that your spring that you picked up fits on there without binding anywhere. The spring should only be binding as it bottoms out. You don't want the spring catching like midway down the shaft. If it does catch or it's hard to push on there, just grind it down just a little bit more. Once you have your piece here all made, you then want to take this and thread this back in. Thread it in again until it's flush with the back side. Then take your spring, cut your spring down to 15-30 seconds long. You don't have to bend the end all fancy or nothing else, just clip it off, works just fine. Take the flat end that is bent closed, place that end towards the trigger, point the end away from it. Then place your trigger back into the rifle, put the pin in there, get it all the way through both the trigger itself and the safety blade. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. There it goes. Okay, and then from this point here you want to check and make sure everything's going to work okay for you. So place your bolt back in. Again, make sure your firearm is empty. Close the bolt. Make sure that nothing trips on it. Try a couple of slam fires in there, see if you can get it to trip. This one's good and safe. Now on the back here, you may need to adjust this screw just a little bit, either that way or back this way, depending on how much play you want in your trigger. This one's actually set pretty darn good. Once you're happy with everything and how it's adjusted, you can then disassemble it and move to the next step. If you find that the trigger pull on here is still a little bit heavy to your likings, you can trim a little bit more off of here, but that 15-30 seconds is pretty much about the bare minimum you're going to get with still keeping the firearm safe, that it doesn't slam fire on you. Pull your piece out, pull your spring back off, take this piece out again, and then put red Loctite all over the threads and screw it right back in to where it was flush. Reassemble it one more time, checking to make sure everything works good with the trigger. If you need to, you can take a small needle nose pliers and adjust that bolt either up or down before the Loctite has a chance to set on it. And that's it, it's done. The trigger pull, like I said, was originally 33 to 34 ounces of pull. With the new spring in here and still using the Accutrigger safety, this one tops out at 12 to 13 ounces. If you'd like it even a little bit lighter, or if you don't care for this safety, you can remove it and the trigger will still function without it. It dropped the weight down to about 11 to 12 ounces. I'm sorry, 10 to 11 ounces. I don't recommend doing that. I really would keep it in there. Again, be safe. Any modifications to your firearm, it's of course at your risk. I don't want to be held liable if you shoot yourself or somebody else. And have fun. It cost a whopping 79 cents for the screw, and for $2 you get, I believe it was 4 springs in the package. So you can screw up cutting the length on that spring quite a number of times. You can get at least 2 of them out of each one of the springs in the package that it comes with. Alrighty, have a good one.